All right, guys, so let's get started. Welcome again to our machine learning career track at Code Heroku. Welcome, everyone. We have most of the participants in our batch, but still we are missing a couple of people. So I'll just start talking anyways with you guys and we'll let them join in next couple of minutes. So how is everything going? Last week we had Divya go over statistics, some basic operations with matplotlib, pandas, and guys, it's not that we are done with those topics. It's just that no, we did the first round. So going ahead as well, we'll be working a lot with pandas, and we'll try to do a lot more operations with these packages again. And today as well, we'll extensively cover some of the topics that we have already done last week, but we'll go into much more detail and we'll practice more with it. Okay. So how's it going with assignments for you guys? Are you guys coming along with the assignments properly? I haven't seen a lot of assignments getting submitted for the last one. Are you guys having some difficulties with it? Or is it just that you just need more time? It's no, I understand that it becomes a little bit more hectic with everything that is going on. Hey Nitesh, thanks for that. So yeah, just try to be in the pace with the class, because once you delay on a few assignments, it will keep stacking up. And let me know if the pace is a little more, if you guys need more time, we can always adjust. And specifically this week, I'm trying to make sure that we don't give you new assignments and don't cover a lot of new topics as such. But I want to make sure that everyone is covers all the topics that we have covered till today. And that's the reason we actually wanted to do an extra class as well, just as a revision class. But unfortunately, Divya was not able to, because of some personal reasons, she couldn't do the Wednesday evening class. But we'll see. And let me know if there is something else that we could do to help you. You have my WhatsApp details. You can always reach to me, and I'll be more than happy to guide you personally on a one-to-one basis as well. Okay. And that's what we try to do in our classes or in our course, is that I don't want to have this like 100 people webinar, but it's more like small group of people who are studying together. And that's why just feel free to reach out if you get stuck somewhere. Okay. All right. So in our today's class, we'll be going over a topic which is known as exploratory data analysis. Has some of you tried it out, or have you heard of it before? So Nitish and Piyush says no, they haven't heard of it. So if you would have completed the last assignment, then I would have told you that, hey, you guys already do this. It's just that it's a different name then. Okay. So this is pretty much what we are trying to do with all throughout our course, is we are trying to get insights from our data, right? Whether it is using statistical techniques, whether it is using the philosophy of exploratory data analysis, or whether it is to make predictive or predictions based on machine learning, right? So right now we are in a stage wherein we are in the first couple of parts, wherein we are trying to use statistics, we are trying to use some data science techniques to explore the data. We're trying to get some insights from what we see. And that's what exploratory data analysis is all about. I don't want to talk a lot because I have some slides as well to talk about those things. But yeah, so let me tell you what we are going to see today. Before I go to the agenda, there's this good quote that I found. So I thought that I'll share it with you guys. It said, torture the data and it will confess to anything, right? So that's something that we as data scientists or machine learning engineers need to keep in mind. The data will tell you if you try a lot. If you have some biases within you, you can actually manipulate it in a way that it will tell the story that you want it to tell. Okay, so don't fall into that trap, and don't have some biases before you go in analyzing the data, because a lot of times what we do is make assumptions about the data set or about a particular thing from our past experience, but things might not necessarily be true. And that's where exploratory data analysis becomes very crucial, because it's more than no certain approach. It is a philosophy. It is more about how do you open mindedly analyze the data. I'm not sure if that is a word, open mindedly, but yeah, that's what we try to do. Is we try to make sure that we don't assume anything. We try to make sure that we do a lot of visualizations and interpret from what we see from that particular data set, rather than having some preconceived notions about the data. Okay, so this is what we are going to do today. We try to analyze, and we'll try to go over the same data set that we have done. I've given you as homework as well, which is the IPL data set, so that it helps you for your homework today as well. Okay, so exploratory data analysis might come in at crucial times. It might be useful in crucial times. Over here I'm showing you a picture of I think this is Brazil versus Chile from 2014 World Cup. Okay, so this is like the match has gone to the penalty shootouts, and this is one last crucial penalty kick. If they if the shooter shoots it into the goal, they are still in the game. But if they miss, the game is over, the other team wins. Okay, so in this critical situation, we have this person over here who is trying to decide, the shooter over here is trying to decide, should they shoot on left, or should they shoot on right, or they should just shoot in the middle. Okay, so if some of you are football fans, do you guys know about what are the stats behind goal kicks or the penalty shootouts? Are you aware of some facts related to penalty shootouts, or which is the better place to shoot? Is it center, left, or right? And obviously I'll tell you the answer, but or take a wild guess. What do you think from your intuition, which might be a better place to shoot? So Sudipto says top corner. Okay, yeah, we've seen that a lot of shooters do that. I mean, if you just hit it in a place where the goalie can't reach, then obviously you have a better chance. But again, you also have a chance of if you are not accurate, your ball might just not hit the net anyway. So left corner, top corner, right? So rather than telling you about specific spots, so let me tell you the outcome of this particular shot itself. As you see over there, the shooter decided to shoot on the right. Okay, they shot the ball on the right, and the goalie happened to jump in the same direction, and their team lost. Right, so the goal was saved. It did not. It wasn't a goal. The goalie blocked the ball. Right, so that was the outcome of this particular shot. So what data analysts did was they said, okay, this seems to be like a lot of millions of dollars depend on these kind of things, right? So, and it's a huge thing. Like if it's a final, or maybe even a crucial game, it's a huge thing. So what data analysts did was they analyzed all the goal shots from past several years that they had for World Cup history, and what they found was it happens to be that 75% of times the shooter was able to get the ball in, right? So it was a goal 75% of times. So this guy was literally unlucky to fall in the rest of 25%. What they also found out was there are about 57% chances that the goalie jumps on the right. From what we have seen in the past, 57% of times this goalie jumps on the right, and another about 41, I guess, let check, correct me if my numbers don't add up to 100. So another 41% of time they jump on the left, and it's only 2% of the times that they stay in the center, right? So there are 47% of chances that the goalie will jump, 41 to the left, 57 on the right. I guess I have not interchanged it, and only 2% if this will stay in the center. So based on these numbers, now can you tell me where should the shooter should have like shot the ball, like just from past data? So 57 on the right, 41 on the, and 2 in the center. Yep. So they should have shot in the center. I mean, like you can always tell if it will be a goal. They might be so unlucky that the goalie decides to stay over there, right? So I'm not sure if you saw Chak De India, that movie. Shah Rukh Khan does know about something about data analysis, right? Like he asks his goalie to stay in the center. So yeah, that's what data analysts do. They try to come up with more informed decisions rather than just going by intuition, right? So in cases like this, and there have been several occasions and several case studies that you'll find online where things like these outcomes of important events have been shaped because of the past data which was available, and they decided to do some data analysis on it, and they got some insights. And I'll share some of the insights with you if I find some interesting case studies. I'll definitely share it on our WhatsApp group. Okay. All right. So here's what we are gonna do, and here's what I have spoken about in last few minutes. What is EDA and why is it important? It is important, as we saw, because it helps you get the best insights from the data that you have. Next, we'll also see in next couple of slides, we'll see common operations that data analysts do for performing the exploratory data analysis. So what it really boils down to. And obviously then we'll go into the hands-on exercise section as quickly as we can. Okay. So we said that EDA is equal to visualize and analyzing the data to extract insights from it. Okay. And whenever someone asks, what is the goal of data science, or what are you trying to do? This is what they generally try to do. And exploratory data analysis is part of it. With machine learning, you're trying to make predictions, but with exploratory data analysis, you're just trying to see what's happening, right? So you're trying to answer that question, what's happening and why is it happening? Okay. One thing that I would like to make sure that you guys understand is EDA is not merely just collection of tool sets and techniques. So it's not just 5 or 10 methods from Pandas that you will use to perform some operations. Rather, it is more of a philosophy or the way you approach a problem. Okay, so how we look at it, how we interpret it, it's a more broader term. And obviously, when you do it in practice, it feels like it boils down to those collection of methods and few operations that you often perform on a data set. Okay. So here are some common operations that you would do. The first one is you would perform descriptive statistics on your data set. Now, can you tell me what are the two things that Divya spoke about which comprise of descriptive statistics? There are some descriptive statistics in the last class. It was broken down into two things. Which were those two things? So it said something like measure of something. So that was the first part, and the second one was measure of something else. So what were the two things that descriptive statistics comprise of? Yeah, the second part, Piyush, you are right over there, or you are close. So not necessarily values. So yep, Sudipto got that right, which is the measure of central tendency. So when we are trying to see where the data is centered around, and we are trying to do the second one is measure of spread, like how is the data distributed or how is it spread across. Okay, so that's what we try to do with descriptive statistics. When someone asks you what is descriptive statistics, you should tell them that there are two things that we try to do when you try to do descriptive statistics is the first is that you try to come up with the central tendency of the data, and the other is you try to find out the spread. Okay, can you tell me some operations which operations did you guys perform to get the central tendencies of the data, and which ones for the spread? Yeah, central tendency, we had mean, median, mode. Uddhav got that right as well. Mean, median, mode for central tendency, right? And for spread, did we do anything on the spread part? Did we calculate the variance? Yep, standard deviation, variance. Okay. So the other thing that you also try to do is check the distribution of the data set or the particular points. You could say that it's part of descriptive statistics, but just wanted to be explicit over here that you'll try to see how the data is distributed. If are there any outliers, you want to make sure that no, you remove them, because in certain operations, even when we are doing machine learning, these outliers could be a big problem. So you want to make sure that some algorithms are very sensitive to these algorithms. So you want to make sure that you check for these outliers, remove them. You also want to check for missing values and you want to replace them, right? So should you replace them with the median? Should you all the way drop it? Should you replace them with some random values? These are all the questions that you need to answer based on, sometimes you look at the distribution of the data set and then you decide, or sometimes you just make the best assumption, or you just do your best to make sure that you you're making an informed decision over there. Okay, and the other thing that you try to do is you also come up with the correlation between different parameters, right? So you see how is one parameter affecting the other parameter, and if there is some correlation, specifically again when we try to do machine learning, this is very important, because if there is more correlation between certain parameters or certain features, then you might want to drop them, right? Because you don't want to overfit your models. I don't want to go too much into depth, but it is important to know how is one parameter affecting the other parameter. Again, you don't want to fall into a trap of the first quote that I said, which is you don't want to push the data so hard that it tells the story that you want to tell, right? So there could be some arbitrary correlation between the stock price and the weather in New York City, but that doesn't mean that they are necessarily always correlated. But yeah, so those are some things that we want to make sure that we don't ignore. All right, so these are some common operations. Now let's dive in and let's start with our hands-on exercise, wherein we'll perform some exploratory data analysis and see what it is all about. It will look more or like of the class that we did last time as well, wherein we are playing with pandas. So last time we were trying to just understand what were some basic operations with pandas, matplotlib, numpy, right? And our goal for today will be to use a data set and try to explore it. I want to make sure that I help you a little for the assignment that you guys haven't submitted yet, which is the last assignment, which has a data set that you will be using, which is the IPL data set. So it is a data set from IPL matches, Indian Premier League, right? So all the IPL matches, it's a data set from them. We want to make sure, so I haven't used another new data set today, but I'll be using the same data set that you have in your homework. So it helps you for your homework as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's download that. So what I want you to do is you could go to your course page over here. So you could go to codeheroku.com, right? So I'm pretty sure you know the course page by now, but let me make sure that I give it to you. So go to your course page and you should see Exploratory Data Analysis Part 1 over here. And you could click on Assets and download this zip file. Okay, so once you download this, extract it. So go over here. So it was over here, so I moved it. So move it to a place where you want to work in. I moved it over here to my documents, and then I extracted it. So right click, extract all. So move it to a place where you want to work in, and then extract, and come to this point where you see these files over here. Okay. So Sudipto, yes, this is the same data set as the assignment. I just want to make sure that other people who haven't been able to complete the assignments, I help them a little so that it becomes a little bit easier for them to complete it. But we'll be answering, so I won't be solving all the assignment questions, but we'll be trying to do some other explorations on the data set besides what we have in the assignment questions. Okay. So guys, let me know once you are done and you have reached to this point. I'll be waiting over here. So download the zip file and extract it in a place where you want to work in. I've extracted it in my documents and open this folder. Hey Santosh, it seems like you joined just recently. All right, so once you extracted it, for those who have extracted it, go to your command prompt and run the Jupyter Notebook. So start your Jupyter Notebook by saying Jupyter Notebook. I guess you guys have done that now several times, or at least couple of times. Right, so go to your Jupyter Notebook. Let me do it over here. So I would say go to command prompt and say Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and if you are someone like me who doesn't like Edge, you can close this. You can go to Chrome and start the Jupyter Notebook. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, I could either paste my token from over here, or what I could do is just stick with Edge. So here's the token. If I wanted, I can get the token from my command prompt, or I could live with this. Okay, so go to documents, and I have my IPL analysis folder over here. Are you guys able to see this? I see that Himanshu is over here as well. So Himanshu, I guess you have missed a couple of classes, right? So are you watching them, the recorded versions of it? I hope that you are doing it. If there are anything that you need help with, please reach out to me, okay? All right, no worries. Just make sure that you go over the recorded versions as well. And if there are any places where you get stuck with the assignment questions, please make sure that no, you reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you. All right, so guys, let me know once you have reached to this point over here. Yeah, I just opened my Jupyter Notebook and went to the folder where where I have extracted my zip file. If you guys are getting stuck somewhere and if you are seeing some errors, let me know that as well. Maybe I can help you a little. All right, so Santosh is done. Okay, so seems like you guys are getting done over there. So I have two IPython notebooks over here, which is IPL completed and the starter. Okay, so the starter file, as usual, we'll open this file and we'll be working on this one. So click on it. So this will take you to a new notebook over here. And as you see, we have some tasks that have been given to us and we'll be completing this. Again, just to be clear, so these tasks, some of them are similar to what you will be expected in your assignment, but some of them are different as well. I don't want to solve your assignment questions in the class because the whole point in coming to any course is to be able to do those things by yourself and not just replicating those exact things what the instructor does right in the class. I want to make sure that I'll tell this again. I want to make sure that I teach you how to fish rather than giving you individual fish. Right? I don't know if that makes sense, but uh, that's the philosophy over here. We won't do the exact assignment questions or similar assignment questions, but I wanted to make sure that I give you a jump start on the assignment so that it is helpful for you. Okay. All right. So that's one. The other thing is the IPL completed, which will have the completed file. So refer to it if you get stuck somewhere afterwards. Then we have the IPL folder. And over here, we are seeing 2-3 files over here. You could safely ignore those, what's the content inside it right now. But what we'll try to do is read them inside our Jupyter notebooks, right? So let me make sure I move this guy over here. Okay. So some CSV file, we don't know what it is. It is not viewable right now. So rather than trying to make sense of it in the CSV file, we'll try to open them in our Jupyter notebook. That will be much more easier. Okay. So let's not go over here. Let's close this. Let's come to our starter notebook. What should the first thing be? Whenever we start working with Jupyter notebooks, what is the first thing that you should do if you're trying to just do preliminary data analysis? You have done this in some of the previous classes, I guess last time and on Saturday as well. What are some of the packages that we do use? Yes, we use the import packages. So what I'll do is add a new cell over here because we want to make sure that no, we import our cells over here. So let me move this up. Okay, so let's say import. Now, can you guys go ahead and import matplotlib? I want the pyplot package from matplotlib, pandas, and numpy. So I want 3 packages. I want matplotlib, and specifically I want the pyplot from it. I want numpy, and I want pandas. Okay, so can you guys go ahead and import those 3 packages and type in the Zoom chat when you are done. Okay, and throughout this no exercise, what I want you to do is make sure that you don't have the completed notebook open. It's just that no, if you're trying to solve a quiz, don't try to have the answers by your side, right? The other thing is, if you're trying to answer a particular question, try answering to me privately on the Zoom chat so that we let other people who don't know those things explore it on Google as well. Okay, so if there are some code snippets that I want you to tell me, make sure that you go ahead and paste it in the private chat and not just send it to everyone. Okay, I want everyone to be able to explore those things by themselves. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that as well. And if you are done, you can jump to task 1 over here, and that will be the case for all our tasks. If you're done, move ahead. Okay, you know what needs to be done. The task is given to you. All right, so let me do that. I'm gonna use numpy as np. And we are using aliases over here so that it is easier for us to work with these things going ahead. Okay. All right, so which method are we going to use from pandas to read the CSV file? And again, make sure you are answering them privately and not to everyone so that everyone else can. And do any question, if you're not sure, what is the best place to look out for and where should you go to find the answer? If you're not sure, go and try to Google it out. Okay. Yeah, Nitish, go ahead and ask your question, please. So Nitish, I just want to make sure that I don't break the the flow of the class over here right now. So I don't want to take questions outside of what we are doing. Okay. So if I reach to that point, or if we are done with this, and if there are specific questions, I'll try to take it that point. So guys, go ahead and read your CSV files using the pandas library. And once you are done, you can say done, or even better, just paste your code snippets to me privately on the Zoom chat. So read both the CSV files that we have in our folder. So we have 2 CSV files, the deliveries and the matches. You can ignore this matches 2 right now. I'll tell you what that is. But read these 2 CSV files in 2 separate data frames. And let me know in the chat box once you have read those 2 CSV files, and tell me what did you use. Okay, so I've got only one answer until now, guys. If we have done this in our previous class as well. If you're getting stuck, go ahead, Google for it. How will you read a CSV file using Pandas library? And guys, make sure you are pasting your code snippets as well so that I can tell you. This one is easy, but going ahead, if there are some things, I'll like to have a look at it. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. Most of you got that correct. Let's just say df, I'm saying df for data frame matches is equal to pd dot read underscore csv. I'm going to give my path, which is ipl slash matches. I hope so. That's the name of the CSV file. And df of the other thing is deliveries. So I'm going to say df of deliveries equals to pd dot read underscore csv. I'm going to give my path over here. We are using relative paths. And okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so it ran without any errors, but how will you print the first few rows to just check if we actually got anything? Which method should I use over here? So we ran it without any errors, but I want to examine it, or I want to print out the first few rows of our data frame. Yeah, you got that right, Santosh. We'll use the head method over here. So let's go ahead and say df of head. You could say df of df matches dot head over here. Okay, so it seems like we got our data frame loaded in our program. We tried out one. I hope that other is loaded as well, but we'll be focusing on this particular data frame, which is df underscore matches for this particular exercise. So we see that we have some seasons over here, the city at which the IPL matches played, and the team 1, team 2, what was the outcome, what was the toss decision, right? And a whole lot of stats that have been given to us. And what we'll try to do is try to explore this data set and try to see if there are some questions that now we can answer. And in this case, we have been given some of the tasks that we need to do. So we are not really trying to come up with the questions as such, but when you actually go for a real problem, or when you work in a company, those questions, you need to come up with those questions as well. So I don't want to talk a lot about the assignment as well, but as you will see, after we complete this exercise, I'm going to give you a small assignment, which is an extension to what you already have. It's not a completely new assignment, but over there I'm asking, it's an open-ended assignment wherein you have to come up with some questions and try to answer them. Okay, and that's how the real world works. No one is going to give you a good framework for you to think about. It is more wishy-washy over there, right? So you need to come up with those questions as well and those answers as well. All people care about is business outcomes. They don't really know these details of what you should do. So you as a data scientist, you need to have that important skill in order to ask the right questions as well. Okay, all right, so the first thing that we could do as soon as you have a data frame is also get some top level summary of the data sets. Okay, so there are two methods that Pandas gives us, and there isn't rocket science to this. So I'm going to say df dot describe over here, okay, just to get the description of my data set. Okay, so I'm going to say df underscore matches dot describe, and let's see what do we get. So as soon as you have a data frame, you should try out these two methods over here. This is the first one, and over here, as you're seeing, for all the numerical columns, right? So we did not get all the columns which had things like strings over here, right? So we don't have player of the match over here, but for things which had numbers in them, so things like win by wickets, right? So we have some the 4-point summary or the 3-point summary of the data set over here. So we have their counts, we have the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, the maximum, the first quartile, second quartile, and the third quartile ranges of the values which are falling in this data set. Okay, so this gives us, you can use the describe method of a data set. And as you can see over here, the umpire 3 over here, you could see that it has the count of 0 over here. Can someone tell me why is the count 0? Even though you do see that umpire 3 has a lot of values, even though they are nan, you are seeing that it is counting as 0. So why do you think that you have count of umpire 3 as 0, even though you know that there are so many rows over here? So Santosh says if it is not defined. So not necessarily the exact term that I'm looking for over there, Santosh. So what it is doing, it is just ignoring all the nan values. Okay, so when you do a df.describe, or no, when you do the counting on these things, df.describe is going to ignore all the nan values. So what we are seeing is umpire 3 over here has only no, it doesn't have any value which is not nan. Okay, so everything is a nan over here. Okay, all right. So the other thing that you could do is also try to do df matches dot info over here. Okay, and let's see what do we get. And we get the info of all the columns that are there in this data frame, right? So we are seeing that there are 636 non-null values for all these columns, and it's now we're also getting the type of that column. So this is an int for a data. Now for a pandas data frame, everything else is it's either a number or an object. Okay, so we have some string objects over here and some numbers. Okay, so this is another good way of looking at all the column information. Okay, so now we have the task 3 over here. Can you guys go ahead and now I kind of partly answered this question for you, but can you go ahead and solve this one and tell me what did you do? And obviously the pattern that I'm trying to follow over here is I'm letting you try out these things by yourself first, and then if you don't get it, I'll solve it after you have tried it. Okay, but thing that I don't want to do is just do it without you having tried it first. All right, guys. So let me know if you're getting stuck somewhere or if you have any questions. What are you trying out? Let me know in the chat box, okay? If you have the answer, make sure you're messaging me privately and not to everyone in the class so that everyone gets a chance to solve it by themselves. So Santosh, it could be that what you're doing over there is you have ran the script twice. So if the first time that you ran it, your umpire 3 might have been dropped. And that's why when you try to run it again, you don't have umpire 3 defined over there. Let me know if that makes sense. So the first time you ran the cell, your umpire 3 was dropped from the data frame. And the second time that you run it, umpire 3 isn't there anymore. That's why you're getting an error over there. So what you could do is also, if you want to make sure, you could go to the cell on the top over here again and rerun this cell so that your df matches gets reinitialized, and then try to run it and see if you are getting the same thing. So guys, can you tell me what method are you using to find if umpire 3 is useful at all, or what are you trying to see? What method are you using to explore what is there inside umpire 3, right? So over here on the first few rows, you are seeing that there are some nans, right? But could there be some values outside of it which are not nans as well? So what method will you use to find what are some individual, like, what's there in it? I want all the elements in umpire 3. I want to check if there are some numbers inside them or if it is all nans. So Nitesh, I'm not sure if this is what you were asking. So when you read df matches.head 10, it is just returning the first 10 rows of this data frame. So by default, it returns only 5 rows. If you add an integer over there, it will return the number of rows that you requested. And when you try to add multiple things over here, it's just the way Panda, the Jupyter Notebook is printing those things out. So if you want to be more specific, you want to have both, you should do a print over here. So you should have print over here and then write multiple things. And again, it's just the formatting, right? So it's trying to print out the same thing, but it is losing the formatting that Jupyter Notebook gives you. All right, guys. So one thing that I would like to point out to you guys over here. Okay, so let's just take a simple data frame before we go to umpire 3. Let's see data frame. Let's say data frame is pd dot data frame. So this is how I would create a data frame from scratch if I want to do it from a Python dictionary. Okay, so let's say if a is 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay, and let's say b over here is 1, 1, let's say 0, 0. Okay, so I created a data frame from scratch. Okay, now if I want to find what are some unique elements in this entire data frame, what I could say is data frame dot n unique. So this will give me the number of unique elements in this entire data frame. Okay, so if I can say n unique over here. Okay, now let's see what does this give us. So this gives us the number of unique values in each of our data frame columns over here, which is a has 3 unique values as you see over here. It's not the length, but it is the number of unique values in A, and B has 2 because we have only 2 unique values over here. Okay. What you could also do is something like data frame of, now this n unique is for this entire data frame, but if you want it for a particular column, so you could say something like data frame of A. Now I got one particular column and then I can say unique on it, right? So I could say unique over here and let's see what do I get. Now I'm getting all the unique elements over here. Now this is not the number of unique, but this is all the unique elements present in the column A, right? So now having said that, can you use the unique method to get the unique values in umpire 3, and so that we make sure that there aren't any other things besides the nan that we are seeing in the head of that data frame, right? So can you guys go ahead and do that and make sure that there aren't any other things except the nan values? So again, guys, what we're trying to do over here is trying to make sure what is there inside the umpire3 column. Okay, so describe gave us some insights over here. When we had done a describe over here, we saw that there were only 0 elements. So that was one hint. But there is another way to do that. If you want to find the unique elements in any of the columns, you could use the data frame unique method over there, or the series unique method over there. And then you could print all of those things out. That will give you, make sure that it has only nan, or if there is something else as well. Okay, so what I want to do is this thing. What we should do is, let's say, now this is not needed anymore, so let me just comment this thing out. Okay, so let's come back to our data set. Now I could say df underscore matches, and then I could say umpire3, right? I got to this column now, and now let's say unique over here. So what do I get? And as you see, we just got nan over here. If there were any other values which were there in umpire3 column, we should have got them in this array over here. So this makes sure, this tells us that umpire3 is not at all useful because it has all nan values. So it's safe for us to drop it out. So now what should I do over here to drop this column and then save the new data frame to a CSV file? Now, can you guys go ahead and do that? So it is now safe for us to drop umpire3. We don't need this anymore. Can you guys go ahead and drop this column and export this data frame to a CSV file so that we might reuse it later? And let me know what are you trying, what's the error that you are getting, if there is something where you got stuck. If you were able to successfully get your file, congratulations, it should be there. Make sure that you are seeing that file. So for me, I had created a new file called matches2. That's why I have this CSV file which is exported from there. So make sure you're getting such CSV file over there, and that is something that you expected. Okay. And if you are done with it, you can move on to the next step, the next task. If you are still over here, I'll be waiting for you for a few minutes over here, and then I'll do it on my screen over here as well. All right, that's fine, Santosh. I'll connect with you later. Right, so seems like Piyush is having some connection problems as well. I see you coming and going out of this meeting several times. But make sure that you are able to watch the recorded session so that if there is something that you got lost with, you are able to find it out. So I know that Sudipto has already done this in his homework, so I'm waiting for Uddhav, or no, maybe we did not have this in the homework, right? So Deepta, are you done with this step? Or how is Uddhav and Himanshu, how are you guys coming along? Because Santosh and Piyush, I think they are having connection issues with their internet, so they just dropped off. But can you guys tell me how are you coming along, Uddhav and Himanshu? So Himanshu is trying. Okay. Sudipto and Nitesh, if you are done, feel free to move on to the next task over there. So Nitesh, when you add a nan, it's not in the it's not in the string, right? So make sure that n is capital, a is small. So try to Google for how to match for nan. You're trying to match with an ASCII nan. It's a data type over there. It's a different data type. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is with unique over here, we have now got the fact that umpire 3 has only nan values. We don't have any other values. So it is now safe for us to drop umpire 3 altogether. Okay. So I'm not sure what you are trying to do with the for loop over there specifically. We know that all the values, when you did the unique, you know that the only element over here is nan. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. So once we know that data frame has only unique values, what you could do is let's create a copy, or let's just create an arbitrary data frame 2. Okay, so what you could say is data frame 2 is data frame of matches dot drop. Okay, and you could add a list of columns that you want to drop from here. So I just want to drop one column, but if you have more columns to drop, you can add it to this list. So you could say umpire 3 over here. So if you want to drop umpire 2 as well, you could write that over here. But I'm not going to do it over here. So we're just going to have umpire 3 that we want to drop. And I want to make sure that I say axis as 1 over here. Now we are telling our pandas that we want, there are only 2 axes in this data frame over here, the axis 0, 1, and you could either have none of the axes, right? So I want to drop it column wise. I want to drop the column. That's why I'm saying axis 1 over here. Or you could also say in place equals to true. That will modify your existing data frame itself. But I don't want to do that. I want to create a new variable over here, data frame 2. I don't want to drop it in place. So I want to say df2 over here. And then I want to say df2. First of all, let's just make sure that we indeed have got rid of it. So we could say df2 dot head. Let's see what do we get. Okay, so df2 dot head over here, and seems like we have got rid of umpire 3. We don't see anything over here. So that is good. Now we could say df2 dot 2csv. That is the name of the method from pandas to put this CSV file to take this data frame and dump it to a CSV file. Okay. Now I could say IPL slash matches 2.csv. You could rename it to anything that you want. And another thing that you want to make sure is you do is index equals to false over here. Okay, so what this is going to do is, as you see over here, whenever you reload a data frame or read a data frame, it creates a new column for you, which is the index, which is different than this ID over here. Okay, this is the data frame index. If you don't, by default index is true over here, if you don't do that, in the CSV file, you will have an additional column with all the integers from which are the row indexes, right? So you don't want to do that. That's why you're saying index equals to false. Okay. So next time when you read it, you don't have another additional column. So it's identical to our first data frame or CSV file, just with umpire 3 gone. Okay. So now this should be there. And yeah, that is done now. Okay. So that's how we would delete a column and then save our new column to a CSV file. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next task. How are you guys coming along for those who have completed it? All right, so print total number of matches played and number of seasons. So which method will, so when you were using NumPy, what was the NumPy method that we know of which will give us the dimensions of that array? Which method from NumPy will give us the dimensions of the array? Yeah, the shape method, right? So similarly, Pandas also has a shape. If you want the total number of rows and columns of your data frame, you could use the shape method over here. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we could say print total number of matches. I want to just get a count of all the rows, or like how many rows do we have, right? So let's just say data frame of matches dot shape first. Now let's see what does the shape give us, and then we'll select something from it. So I could say use the attribute shape over here and then say run. Now I'm seeing that we are getting a tuple of, they're saying that we have 636 rows and 18 columns over here, right? So we want just the 636 from here. So we could use shape of 0 over here. So we could say total number of matches 636, right? So that's how we'll get this one. Go ahead and do the other one, which is number of seasons. So which method will help us to get the number of seasons? So we want how many seasons were played in this data set that we have. So go ahead and go on to the top and see what the season column looks like. So looks like we have the seasons from 2017, and these are the years where the IPL has been played, right? So can you find out how many number of seasons are there in our data set? So do we have data set from 5 years, 6 years, 6 seasons, 7 seasons? How much is it? It seems like everyone is having a very hard time with the internet today. I see Himanshu also dropping in and coming off again. And what did you use to find it out? Can you go ahead and write your snippet over there? Yep, you could do the n unique over there, right? So either you could use unique and then find the length of that array, or you could just use the n unique over there to find the number of unique entries over there, right? So let's come over here. Let's say print total number of seasons. And guys, why are we doing all this? We're just exploring the data set, right? It is important for us to understand the data. What are we dealing with before we try to do any fancy analytics on it? Okay, it's like if you don't understand it and you're just trying to do it, you're just firing your arrows blindly. Okay, so you don't know what you're doing. That's why it's critical that we understand the data set first before we do any fancy analytics on it. All right, so df underscore matches, we should get to the seasons first, and then we could say n unique over here, right? Let's see, what do we get? Yep, we have total number of seasons as 10 over here. Okay, all right, let's move to task 5 over here. We want players who have won the most player of the match or the man of the match awards. And we want all the players who have won most of them. So maybe we should get first 5 or 10 players who have maximum man of the match awards. And then we want all the teams which has highest number of match wins. So we want the teams which have highest number of match wins and the player who has highest number of man of the match awards. How can we do that? Let's say most player of the match award. So we have a column over here which says player of the match, right? So player underscore of match. So first, let's just get to that first. So let's come over here and say df underscore matches, and then get to this column, which is player of match, right? So first, let's see what do we have over here. So we have all the players, right? So we have all the players that we have extracted. Now, what should we do over here to get the count of the unique elements over here, right? So what can we do over here to get the number of players who have got maximum man of the match awards? And is there any other thing that you could try. All right, guys, I'm waiting over here for you to come up with these two things over here. So you got to the player of the match. Can you give me the player who has won the maximum player of the match awards and the team which has the highest number of match wins? So let's start off with what we already know. Let's see if what happens if we do n unique over here, right? So let's see what do we get. So that doesn't help us a lot, right? So we are getting a number which is 201, right? So what we want to do is count the number of times that these things are occurring. So what method from pandas can we use to count the number of times these things are occurring in this column over here? So what we want is we want to get the frequencies of the individual players that appear in this column. So can you Google for that? Can you find the method which will give us the frequency of the elements in this column? So guys, let me know what are you trying to do. If you're getting stuck, if you're just practicing, that is fine. The whole purpose of this exercise is to make sure that you practice a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's the only way we get better at these things is if you try to do this with different kind of data sets, and in different scenarios you encounter different problems and you find your way around them. That's how you get better at this. It's not just memorizing the name of the methods. It's a little bit more to that. It's more practice as well. Sorry guys, I lost you there for a second. Seems like the same problem that everyone else is facing that got to me as well, which is my internet got unstable as well. I was just expecting that not to happen. I was hoping that not to happen, but it eventually did. So let me know what's going on. Yep, Nitesh, so you got that right. Let me just go ahead and do that as well. My apologies if you were not able to. So Sudeep, though I did not get your message, the last thing that I got over there from you was the hi. But sorry for that. Let me come over here and let's get to this again. So let's come over here. So what you should do is to count the frequencies. We could do something like value count, right? So we could use the value underscore counts method over here. Now let's see what do we get. Now, once we do this, we are getting the value counts of all the players over here, right? So all these people have got it only one time. Let's just print it out for first 10 people, like people who have got it, who got it more than others. So top 10 players over here, let's print them out. So these are the top 10 players who have won the man of the match or the player of the match award maximum number of times. Okay. All right. So once you have this, can you do it for the teams as well? It is similar to this. Can you give me the name of the team which is highest number of match wins? So Sudeep, there is nothing wrong with that as well. If you want to return a data frame, you could do a dot head. If you want to have a numpy array, you could use something else. If you want to return a series, you could use something else. It's just up to the, like, what do you want to do after with that? What's the next step, right? So if you want to just display it on your screen, then that's fine. So try to look for a method that will return. So what happens when you do this, it creates an index to this new data frame with the values over here, right? So this thing is the new index over here. Now Chris Gale is the index. Now try to find out how will you get the value of this index. How would you get the Chris Gale, which is the index of this data frame over here, and you want the index with the maximum value. So try to look for that method name, which will give you the index with maximum value over there. All right, guys, so this is similar as well. So let me do it. So we'll say print. We want to say team which has won highest number of times. First thing, as usual, let's get to the TF matches. And we want to get to the column which has the winner of that game, right? So the name of the column is winner. Now inside this column, we have the winners of each match. So let's do the frequency count of over here as well. So we'll get the value count, value counts. Okay. Now, how should we get, now let's see first, what do we get over here? So let's print this out. All right, so we got this. So team with highest number of times, we see that we are getting Mumbai Indians and 92 over here. So Mumbai Indians has won 92 times. So what if we just want Mumbai Indians to be printed and not this entire thing or not the entire series? Right, so here we are just printing the first 10. What if I just want Mumbai Indians over here? I want, now this is the new index that has the data frame has created for us with the names of all the winning teams. And these are the values associated with the counts or the numbers associated with that index. So what method can we use to get the value of the index or the string at that index with the maximum value? Let me go ahead and search it over here. So first let me go to google.com because I don't want to search on Bing. Right. Once I'm on Google, let me search for uh, get index with maximum value data frame. Right. So max value index. Let's see what this Stack Overflow question has for us. And seems like people are saying that use the ID max method to get the index of the maximum value. Okay. So let's try to do that. So let's come over here and then say, let's see what happens if we get an ID max over here. So we want to make sure that this guy making some mistake over here. Let me make sure what that is. So we got to the df matches winners dot value count. We want to get the ID max of it. Oh, it says ID X max, not ID max. This doesn't work either. Yep. I was just making a few syntax errors over there. So, Sudipta, this is more like now we using the np.argmax. So we're getting the index of the value which is maximum rather than the group by operation. So let me know if that makes sense. So if you look for np.argmax, which is now return the index which has the maximum value. So it's similar to that. And yes, Nitesh, you could use just getting the, instead of 10, you could use the 1 over here because value counts is guaranteed that it is sorted. So when value count returns an object, it automatically sorts that for you. And that's why you know that the first one will be the maximum. But just in case, I just wanted to make sure I show you some other ways as well. So you could use ID max. If this thing was not sorted, you could still have used ID max and it would have returned the index with maximum location. Does that make sense, Nitesh? Why are we even trying something like IDX max over here? What if this thing was not sorted, right? So this thing is sorted. That's why we are guaranteed over here that we could still use 1. Okay. All right. So we have few minutes left. So we'll try to get through this as much as we can. But again, the whole point is always to have more content for the class. Sometimes we might have less content as well, but I try to have a little more than what we could cover so that rest of the things you could do it as homework, right? Just kidding. So we'll try to cover as much as we can, but if there are some things that we are not able to cover, you should not leave those things. Try to find those things out by yourself as well. Okay. And of course, if you get stuck, you can email me or WhatsApp me. So let's come over here. We need to find teams which have won matches by a huge margin. Okay, so how do we go about doing it? I'll let you guys try it out first. And you could assume what you mean by huge margin. Okay, so for someone, a huge margin could be if the team won by more than 100 runs, or it could be also if the team won by more than 8 wickets, right? So that could be a huge margin. So try to find teams which have won matches by a huge margin. Hey Udo, how are you coming along with the assignment or the exercise right now? I see that you got dropped off over there. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to find teams with which have won matches by a huge margin. For us, a huge margin could be something like if the team has won more than with more than 100 runs, or it could be if the team won by more than 8 wickets, right? So try out something like that and tell me, find the teams which have won by the highest margin or a huge margin. Again, guys, what we're trying to do over here is we want to find teams which have won by a huge margin over here, right? So what will we do? How will we filter our data frame to print out only the matches which has what we define our criteria as a huge margin. So we want to filter our data frame. How do we do filtering operations on a data frame based on certain criterias? So let's start off. Let me just start off over here and I'll let you guys do something with it. So I want something like, I want a new data frame over here, which is a big margin, right? So which will be built out of df dot underscore matches, obviously, right? So I want to index into this df matches. Now, what should I write as a criteria over here so that this criteria is something which has what we are calling it as a huge margin matches, like matches where teams have been defeated or won by a huge margin. So Nitesh, I'm not 100% sure if what you have written will give us. So can you give me the name of the teams what you are getting over there? And what are you using as your criteria based on? You're just saying win by runs. It could be also win by wickets, right? So what we want to do is we want to find out all the teams, or no, the teams which usually win by a huge margin. So which are those teams? We want a list of those teams. So Sudipto, you got it right. Hey guys, let me know how are you coming along with this. For those who are done, so I know that Sudipto is done, and you can move on to the next things over there, obviously. If there are any questions, please let me know on the chat box. So let me tell you how I would go about filtering this data frame over here. So what you could say is we want to filter based on win by runs and win by wickets, right? So let's get those things over here. So we'll create two filters over here in these two brackets, and we want an OR operation over here, right? So we want either this operation to be hold true or the other one. So we're using a logical OR operator over here. Then we could say df underscore matches, right? And based on df underscore matches, we want win by runs, right? So we want win by runs to be, let's say, greater than equal to 100, right? So if df dot matches win by runs is greater than 100, or df underscore matches of win by wickets is greater than equal to, let's say, 8. Now you could obviously change these things, or you could have another variable defined as well which will store these values, right? And once that is done, we should be good to go. We should have our big margin wins data frame separated out. So let's see what do we get over here. So we are not printing out anything, so let's just print that thing out as well. So let's say big margin over here. Let's see what do we get. We printed out few matches, like first 5 matches, which has the big margin wins, right? So as you see over here, this win by wickets is greater than 10, this is greater than 9, and so on, right? So we have a few big margin wins. So what we want out of this is the winners of these matches, right? So let's get the winners of these matches. Here are the winners of these matches. So let's get all the winners over here. And let's do a value count on this one, right? So this will give us a better answer. So WINNER, we don't have an S over here. Okay, so there we have. So Royal Challengers Bangalore have won the matches now by a huge margin, 17 times. Kolkata Knight Riders 16 times, and so on. Okay, so these are big margin winners of the game over there. Okay, so I'll let you guys complete the 7, 8, and 9, and the rest of the things over there. I just want to make sure I have a few minutes over here to explain you what do we have as an assignment. So let's come over here. So here's the assignment that I have for you guys for this weekend, right? And the assignment is, you want to put yourself in the shoes of an IPL team coach or a manager. Think about the questions that are, or that might help your team make more informed decisions, and use the IPL dataset to answer them. Right? So you need to come up with the answer. That is how most real world business problems that you will come across. No one is going to give you specific questions. You need to find 5 such critical questions and write a blog post documenting your analysis. Right? So other thing that we try to do is also build the machine learning or data science portfolio, right? So we want to make sure that you are publishing enough. You're letting the world know what you are doing, and just as a part of assignment and just to encourage you to creating, and it's just not writing a Jupyter Notebook. You also need to articulate yourself well in a blog post. And your assignment for this week and going ahead for the rest of the week will be to create this blog post, and you need to come up with 5 such questions. An example of one such critical question is bowling or batting first a better option at a given venue, right? So you as a team coach might be interested in knowing if I'm going to this venue and if I win the toss, should we bat first or should we bowl first, right? So this could be an example, but I want you to think of 5 such critical questions that a IPL team coach or manager might benefit from, and publish your blog post to our Medium publication. So yesterday you should have got an invite from us to be an editor on our Medium blog post, right? So I want you to create a Medium blog post. If you are not sure what Medium is, go ahead and find it out. It's a well-known blogging platform for a lot of data scientists are there. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of Medium blog posts as well. So as a part of assignment, to encourage you, I want you to create your findings, document it, create a blog post out of it, and publish it to Code Heroku's Medium publication. Okay, it will definitely be under your name, and we'll be promoting your blog post through our social media and our channels as well, so that you get more visibility in the job market if you're trying to go for a new job. Next, also create a LinkedIn post and link your Medium article over there. Tell the world about it. It's not just writing, shouting on the moon and no one hearing about what you have to say, but also create a LinkedIn post and submit your Medium article over there for everyone else to read. Okay, and tag me so that I know that you have done it, and let me know how it goes. And yeah, this is the assignment that you have for this week. One important thing that I would like to tell you is at tomorrow's class, unfortunately, will have to be cancelled because unforeseen event, and Divya was supposed to come to this tomorrow's class, but she is having some issues, and we will not be able to have our tomorrow's class scheduled. Don't worry about in terms of if you're just signed up for the 1.5 month program, we'll definitely adjust that going ahead. And this is not the normal course of action at Code Heroku. It is a big thing for us to cancel a class, but unfortunately we have to reschedule the tomorrow's class. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll also send out the email to other folks because we have only 3 of us who are over here. Want to make sure that you know that tomorrow's class is, unfortunately, we have to move it ahead. And this is the assignment. You will also get this in your emails as well for others who have, unfortunately, who have to drop out because of internet connection issues or something else. Okay. All right, guys. So I'll connect with you later next Saturday. And till then, please make sure that you connect with me on WhatsApp and on my email. So Sudipto, no, we unfortunately had to cancel it. Divya is having some problems and we won't be able to schedule the extra class, right? So neither we have the class today evening. I wish we could have, but there is nothing much that we could do at this point over here. So tomorrow's class, we'll have to move it back, and as well as there is no extra class today evening. Okay. Again, I want to make sure that you guys understand that this is not the normal course of action at Code Heroku. This is something that we take very seriously. Our classes are as important to us than anything else. But there are some times that you don't have control over those such events, and that's why we'll have to move the class. Okay. All right. So thanks again for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. I'll talk to you again next time on Saturday, 11 a.m. this time. And from there, it will be pretty much me who will be taking over the class, and we'll go through how we go about data extraction and working with databases and all those cool stuff. Okay. All right. So let's connect next Saturday. I want to make sure that I receive a lot of submissions from you guys on our Medium post. So make sure that it will help you create your profile. Okay. That's the only reason I'm encouraging you guys to do it as a part of your assignment, so that it's out there, the world can see it, and you will have some interesting insights to you to share with the world. Okay. All right. Thanks again. Goodbye. Goodbye, Sudipto. Thanks, Udav. If you have any feedback of how the session went, please let me know. Okay. If there is something that you think that we should have